and welcome back to yet another episode. The podcast made for all of you who are struggling more than you're thriving and don't know whether to cry, scream, or laugh when life hits you up with several jokes where none of the punchlines make sense. And if this is your first episode, welcome. You have no idea what you have got yourself into. As my brother says when I'm giving him advice, sometimes you say something just on point, I couldn't have been told elsewhere, and sometimes it's just fucking stupid. Like with everything in life, take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. So, 3 months ago, I took a leap of faith and decided to say adios to my old flat in my hometown and moved up north to get the whole big city experience. And I really fucking love it. If you have ever considered to leave your familiar surroundings, let me just tell you, it's a whole new world. It can really bring back excitement to shake things up a bit. And it doesn't have to involve moving out of your current home. If you hate your job, you can search for a new one. If your spouse never cleaned the dishes, you can replace him or her. Or it can be as simple as trying out a new recipe, a hobby you've always been curious about, or even a hobby you have never wanted to try to get a confirmation on that you hate it. The possibilities are endless. With that said, shout out to all of my fellow comfort zone babes out there. Just now and then, just now and then, we do have to force something new into our lives. We might end up being positive surprised, and we don't always have to fear worst case scenarios. I do all the time, but when it comes to positive surprises, I immediately get this throwback to the very first day here in this new city I'm living in. So, on the first day, after the van transporting all of my stuff had left, I went to the local grocery store just across the street. And to shop food staples and minding my very own business, not doing much. I immediately went to the vegetable section because I'm boring and care about nutrition. And while I was picking out the perfect avocados, my eyes glanced a really attractive bypassing guy. I dropped my one of my AirPods and I couldn't help myself but just stare a bit as he was walking by. And I was impressed, like, okay, whoa, not bad, not bad. I have been in the city for what, 5 hours so far, and I have already managed to see a young guy. A guy younger than 40 and older than 15. Grocery shopping. What is happening? And he was only the beginning. During the maybe 7 minutes I was analyzing avocados, don't ever underestimate how hard of a task it can be to find the perfect avocado. But handsome guys kept on passing by me, and I was like, oh my god, what is happening? This would never ever have been the case in the city I used to live in my hometown. When I went shopping for the week ahead in my old city, the only people passing by me would have been moms with strollers and teenagers sneaking out energy drinks at the self checkout scans, and I would know so many of the local people that my shopping trips often required a disguise to avoid conversation. But this is a whole new level. It is indeed the city of youth, and if this is the basic type of customers in the grocery stores, I cannot wait to hit the clubs and the bars when the weather is appropriate for bare legs and small dresses. Because right now I am freezing so fucking much. So if I had to go out right now, it would be in sweatpants. And if you aren't from Scandinavia, let me reveal a huge secret. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Drum rolls. We are not as Viking as the Vikings in the HBO show. We are frauds. Yes, we do ice plunges in inflatable garden bathtubs and we are pursuing the thrills of winter bathing at the harbor, but only if shots of Branca, quality coffee, and saunas are included. And personally, I grew up with the sauna part, not the exposure of the North Pole climate against my skin. Are you fucking insane? I am a pussy compared to my ancestors. I'm the Pokemon that evolved but ended up being less cool than the previous one. Which reminds me, if you want to know a fun fact about saunas, it's actually a Nordic tradition to bring birch branches into the saunas and whipping the leaves against your skin while sitting there and sweating. It sounds weird, but that's how I learned to use saunas in my childhood. To sweat and whip yourself up with branches to stimulate blood circulation and enriching the skin with oils and vitamins. So, next time you are going to a fancy wellness location, be the first mover and bring a whole bunch of branches. Be the party starter and show everyone how it's done due to Nordic traditions. Or don't, you might be kicked out, who knows. And that would be a waste of money. Going to the spa isn't cheap nowadays. Oh my god, I sound old now. Sorry. But when we are mentioning spa, last episode we did have a little bit of a chat about anxiety. So why don't we do the opposite and talk about relaxation? We have talked about spas now and whipping yourself up with branches. So relaxation it is. And speaking for myself, that's a thing I fail on doing almost on a daily, honestly. I tend to juggle 500 different projects at once, which can be okay if it's short term, but if it's done for a long period of time, it can be draining both mentally and physically. We all know that by now. It's everywhere on the internet. If you by any chance follow any fitness or wellness accounts on Instagram, I bet you have heard the famous term cortisol, which is a fancy name for the so called stress hormones. I am a holistic health practitioner myself, so I do know how important it is to address high cortisol levels. And I also know that it's such a huge topic that I will be able to go on and on and on with it for hours. And it's so simple and yet so complicated when it comes to managing your cortisol levels. And if you don't know what all the cortisol fuss is about, cortisol is basically a hormone that works as a messenger, coordinating several functions in your body, here as when you have to react really fast or will have to get tasks done in a hurry, or if you have to be going for a long period of time without a break. Cortisol is the guy, and that's pretty awesome. If our bodies didn't produce any cortisol at all, none of us would be alive by now. Cortisol is our main drive when we are facing dangers or if we have to flee. Back in the days, it helped us to survive from enemies and dangerous animals, and today it's more likely to take form of dangers as when you are going to the supermarket looking like shit and your ex suddenly shows up. Or when you realize you overslept and jump out of bed within seconds. Or when you have to deal with the assignment you postponed the last 3 weeks and now is due in 2 hours. Cortisol has a bad rep, but it's a freaking fucking lifesaver. Just saying. But you, my love, are an independent human being, and you cannot rely on cortisol to be the knight on the white horse every single minute of your day. You have to take your expectation down a notch. The cortisol knight needs some rest too. Because it's very likely and common in our society to be overstimulated by cortisol, just like you can be over caffeinated by caffeine. The higher amount of caffeine you drink every single day, the higher the dose you need to feel the kick and get energy. It's the exact same way cortisol works. If you want to get all of the benefits cortisol has to offer, you have to push the brakes now and then to get some fuel on the car. Otherwise, you will be running on an empty petrol tank, and then it's only a matter of time before the whole car stops running. And you don't want to spend your time on getting your car towed and brought to the mechanic when you wanted to spend the time elsewhere. Said without the analogies, you don't want to burn out and you don't want to have a constant high level of cortisol in your body. If you misuse cortisol, you are not old enough to play with it. Don't be the annoying kid coming home from the sandbox crying about how cortisol hit you with a shovel when you were the one bullying her in the first place. Cortisol is not the evil one here. You made the first move, you started it. And I know that cortisol triggering activities and behaviors are more and more common in our daily life, and we cannot control all stressors as traumatic events or circumstances out of your control, like a fucking annoying boss. Um, yeah, but with our main focus on the small, minor, everyday cortisol triggers, we can do a lot to push the brakes before we hit the wall. I could do a quick rundown on all possible cortisol triggers, but there's a lot, and I lied. I cannot do a quick rundown because the triggers are both physically, mentally, environmental, and genetics. And I don't want to dive into all of those topics today. So, we are talking about relaxation, right? Be aware, I am a holistic coach, but I am terrible at making time for self care. So these ideas I share are far from sexy or complicated. It's basically just small things, you can try to toss into your daily life or daily routine as a form of wellness. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. The one thing you have been waiting for today, I guess. The list of self care actions for everyone who is failing on slowing down. First of all, scrolling on your phone or doing nothing do not count as relaxation or self care. You have to do something physically to your body to send out signals that your body is safe. See it like this: if you were hunted down by a tiger, you would not sit yourself down massaging your feet. If we want to slow down, we have to do something to tell our body and mind that it's time to relax. Number one, a scalp massaging brush. I bought one recently and I cannot believe that I have been hesitating for so long buying this one because I fucking damn freaking love it. Honestly. When I have hair shower days, I simply just add shampoo to my hair and then I use the brush to even spread it out. And while I spread it out, it also massages my scalp, which is genius and requires zero extra effort. So if you haven't bought one yet, do it, do it, do it. Go and do it tomorrow or right now, whatever you're doing, toss everything you have, go and buy a scalp massaging brush. Because it also helps stimulating blood flow, which may help to stimulate hair growth along with good nutrition, hydration, and sleep, of course. But it's a good tool. Let's see. Number two, nail polish. Unfortunately, this one will be irrelevant to all of you beautiful ladies with gel nails and manicures. I don't have the monthly budget for any of those, but it looks awesome, and I wish I had the money to get my nails done, but I don't. If I have a night where I end up slumping in front of a TV show, I will find some nail polish and start to paint my nails. It's a thing I end up neglecting all the time. These feminine kind of self care acts, and especially nail polish, as it does require some time and attention. But even though it's a minor thing, just being forced to sit down, painting your nails, adding more than one layer, and waiting for it to dry. This whole cycle is an adult version of a timeout. Because if you don't put focus on or patience into it, you will end up ruining the nail polish and get holes everywhere in it and the scratches and so on. So, nail polish is a thing I have started to do now and then just to make my nails look pretty, but also to force myself to sit down, relax, and pay attention to what I'm doing right here, right now. Number three is foot massage. And don't be sad if you don't have anyone to do the foot massage on you. You can do it all by yourself. Or if you have younger siblings, it's time to start teaching them now that they have to massage your feet. Honestly, they have to learn it at some point. You could be the one they have to practice on. But yeah, never mind. For all of you or anyone who is disgusted by their feet, I have been there myself. Actually, for most of my life, I could not look or touch my own feet without being disgusted. But you know what? When your body is trying to get rid of toxins, according to zone therapy, they can actually get stuck underneath your feet. And it's not a dumb theory. When you know how blood is transferred from your heart and out through the whole body and the arteries, it will round the outer corner called underneath your feet. And think about it, you stand on your feet every single day. And maybe you even have a job where you stand up most of the day. Give those feet a little bit of love. Just go with a cheap body lotion and rub your feet with some nice firm presses. And if you start to feel a little bit of a crushing feeling in certain areas, that's important. Give those areas a little bit more attention. Those are areas that, according to zone therapy, hold up toxins. I was once upon a time mentored by a zone therapist, and she told me that this practice of zone therapy has been used all the way back by Indians. And whether you believe in it or not, your feet are doing a great job. You can do this for just a few minutes before bed, or again, just like with the nail polish, while you're watching TV or slumping up in the sofa. Get down to work on those feet. Number 4. Okay, this is one that do require a little bit of time, and it also require that you go and find a book. Because I have made number 4. Are you ready? You might have guessed it already, but read rather than scroll before bedtime. I I honestly have to admit, I often fall out of the habit, but when I do read before bed instead of scrolling on my phone, I end up sleeping so much better, and I also slow down in such a remarkable way. When I sit myself down in a comfortable position and start to read, I get so calm and suddenly start to breathe a bit deeper than I normally do when I just go about with my day. There is so many different kinds of books out there, and if you don't feel like reading fiction or stories or novels, you can try to read books that doesn't feel like a waste of time. They are never a waste of time, but waste of time by choosing biographies or of people you admire, or books that offer you to learn a new skill or give you a new perspective on a subject out in the world. I don't bother reading novels. I'm really, really bad at it. I would much rather read about human psychology and behavior, which then, in my brain, is an accepted kind of relaxation as I learn something meanwhile I relax. If you don't read, I highly recommend it. You could also, if you don't feel like reading by yourself or can't motivate yourself, go together a couple of friends and start a book club. Then read the same book and then chat about it when you are having your monthly call with your long distance bestie. Sometimes it can be refreshing to not only chat about Julia from HR, but actually dive into a deeper conversation about something that is not gossip related. Should I start a book club here? Let me know if you would like me to recommend some books for you. And to all of you who cannot read, because I know it is a struggle. I have people in my family who can't read due to, is it called dyslexia in English, where you have a hard time reading the sentences and so on. I'm not an expert on this specific topic of not being able to read, but if you're not able to read, you could also still read books by, okay, that was dumb said that you can read books by listening, but you can get so many amazing apps where you can listen to books. So it's just like listening to a podcast. And when I have the monthly budget, to also subscribe on a book app, I actually do that as well. Just listening to books. And if you're someone who are getting tired really fast in your eyes, getting a subscription to a app with books on it is really really nice as well, because you can get it read for you instead of you have to reading the letters. So books are for everyone. Whether you are able to read or not, books are for everyone. So that's a really strong number 4. And let me see. I have made myself a list. I'm trying to get through it. And number 5. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. So, number 5 is a face roller. And not one of those with spikes on it that makes your skin bleed, but one of those with two small rolling balls on the same end of the tool. This is also a thing you can do anywhere, preferably after you have cleansed your face from makeup. When I first started using it, I had no idea of how much I walked around clenching my face and jaw all the time. And when I bought it, I was not even supposed to buy a face roller. It just happened on an accident. One day, I was going to the health store to buy my omega 3 supplement, and the store had the audacity to have promoters from different skincare brands. And one of the brand ambassadors, she was standing around, and I was just walking around in the store looking at all the expensive things I would like to buy one day. And she called me. We started to have a conversation, and then she had me to try this face roller. And I was immediately hypnotized by how relaxed my face felt afterwards. And you know the story, I had suddenly bought a thing I wasn't supposed to buy. Hooray for spontaneous shopping. When I started to use it on a daily, my jaw suddenly started to loose up. And when it happened, I kept on biting myself on the inside of my cheeks every time I was chewing food. I was so tense in my jaw that when I suddenly started to make it relax, my mouth was not used to all the cheek being in the way of my chewing. So it was really a sign that I need to make my face relax. So, face roller, amazing. And you don't have to do it for a very long time. You can just do literally 2 minutes. Bam, 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 done. But amazing, I recommend. Okay, number 6. So now the personal trainer comes up in me because number 6 is foam rollers. After a long day, before I head to bed, I have the tendency to just throw myself on the floor. Just laying there, looking up at the ceiling, then grabbing my phone, starting to scroll, then come to my senses being like, oh, I wasn't supposed to scroll. I was supposed to just be laying on the floor, looking at the ceiling. So I throw the phone away again and start to zone out. It feels really nice for the back just to lay on the floor, especially if you have been sitting by a desk hunched over for a whole day. And if you recognize yourself here, the foam roller will now be your upgrade from the floor and your now new best friend. And if you're not convinced yet, let me tell you, this specific kind of foam roller I'm talking about will be able to crack your back with minimum effort. I said it will be able to crack your back. And it just feels amazing. I have upgraded my nightly throw myself on the floor sessions to foam roller sessions instead. There's a million different kinds of brands on types of foam rollers out there, but the one I would recommend is a long, soft foam roller. I can post a link maybe or a picture in the show notes if you want. But yeah, when I was in between rentals not so long ago, before I moved here actually, I had a short period of time where I was living with my mom and my baby sister. Not so baby, she's 12 now, but I introduced my sister to the foam roller. And when I tell you, she was more sad about the foam roller leaving the house when I moved out than me. That's how precious this foam roller is. As I mentioned, she is 12 years and therefore a full time student, and her back had so much relief by laying on this foam roller for as little as 5 minutes. And it's really funny. My mom's living room turned into a freaking circus every single night. Me and my sister, we would both lay on the floor in front of the TV, performing stretches and laying on each of our foam rollers. I have a bit of a collection, so I had several with me. So we were laying on foam rollers and just, you know, tossing ourselves around, having a good time, chilling. But honestly said, foam rollers can give so much relief in your back and in your shoulders, especially if you have this hunched over position at work or in school. And a thing you can do, okay, if you lay on the foam roller, with the foam roller laying in the middle of your back as was it your spine for 5 to 15 minutes before you go to bed, it can actually help your body to relax and recover during the whole night. It will then be the last signal you send to your body before going to bed. And nighttime is, as I said, the hours where your body regenerate and heal. So, yes, foam roller is a big damn fucking recommendation. And let's take a last one. Number 7. And this is not for all of us. I'm so sorry, guys. This is just me being starry eyed on all of those people having this specific one thing. And this number 7 is a bathtub. I've heard it should be magical and do wonders when it comes to relaxation. One of my very, very best friends in the whole wide world, she's a mom, and every time she has the chance, she take out some time to go and lay in this warm bathtub, just chilling, enjoying the peace and quiet. I'm only a little bit jealous. A lot jealous. And I have considered to buy one of those foldable bathtubs you can get for kids so many times. Just to have in my shower. But have you seen how expensive those are? I'm way too fucking stingy to buy one of those. And funny story. During the pandemic, I wanted to throw myself one of the so-called spa days, and I had bought some face masks and bath bombs, and I did not have a bathtub. So what did I do? In my storage room, I had these transparent plastic boxes I didn't know what to do about. So I ended up using these plastic boxes as a bathtub. And yes, I said plastic boxes, as in more than one box. Because my body could just fit into one box. And then my legs were dangling over the edge. So I had a box for each of my legs, as well as for my body. So my feet would stay warm and comfy underwater because I had more than one box as a bathtub. I'm pretty sure I was laying in my bathtub, homemade bathtub, for maybe 40 minutes, and then as I made a minor movement reaching out for my phone, the plastic box started to crack. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, how you do spa day on a budget. Okay, I have to admit, this was really fun, and I hope you found today's part entertaining and or useful. Thank you so much for listening to all of my babbling once again. If you enjoyed it, please reach out. I would love to get in touch with you if you have anything you would like me to talk about. And until I see you next time, thank you so much once again and stay safe.